Yeah, I could go to the agenda. Jochen is in vacation, so he won't join after as well. That makes it for us a bit challenging at the moment to work on some topics, but we will see. Okay, maybe first topic, just to mention it shortly, there is still this discussion on its way about the Bubble project, whether that should be moved to application runtime deployments working group or not. We also talk in the TOC about that, and it looks like these meetings are still in progress, so we can just
yeah, I know.
Let that flow.
Ruben reached out to me, and I asked him to schedule some time, and he hasn't done that yet. So I don't know whether he's still planning on doing that. But yeah, we'll see what comes of that.
Okay, so we just wait until there's an outcome of this discussion, and that's all fine. I mean, it's not urgent.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
No, definitely. No, we're in a good place at the moment. We have Jammy support. So yes, I think it's just a question of how we want to support it long term.
Yeah. Okay, maybe a short update from the TOC because there are some plans regarding the GitHub teams. We are discussing, and very likely they get active next Tuesday or so, a reviewers concept. That means if there are new colleagues, contributors who want to get approval roles, then they can. You can assign PRs to them. That's maybe not the most urgent use case for our group here because nobody is applying, but it could be used also for granting read access to pipelines, etc. If we don't want to make them public, that's something we come back.
Right.
There's also under discussion a concept of having bots per workgroup area. Since we have only 1 or 2 areas, it's not important, but there are other working groups who have really separate working groups, and they ask for it.
I saw that. I don't think it affects us in any way. So
Yeah,
I think
no.
I did put in a PR last week that was merged to get all of our repositories listed under our team. So I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, then comes this spicy PR, right? That removes everything.
Right. Yeah, I'm still a little nervous when the old release integration team goes away, but we'll see what happens. I don't think it would be too hard to get a PR in to add anything we missed. So
yeah. That I'm sure everybody will wait, and if somebody complains, of course we can revert or add the teams again and go from there then and clean it up. There's also still under discussion whether we get this maintain role that's currently not in the plan for GitHub for the Cloud Foundry org, but Chris Clark wanted to reach out to Microsoft. And if we get that, we could grant all the approvers maintain role that would allow to configure CI, etc. I mean, from a TOC point of view, we only want to prevent that repos get deleted. We don't want to restrict other rights.
Yes.
But at the moment, this concept is a bit strange. Either you are admin or you just have write access. But let's see what comes out. If that will not happen, then we will probably introduce something like a work group admin or so. That's still under discussion. It doesn't solve the deletion problem, but at least it's then limited to one area.
That maintain question reminds me that it was originally raised because the bots in ARP that are used in CI to push to GitHub cannot pass the branch protection rules without admin access. Have we checked on the bot accounts that we use in our CI? Because I've just realized I've not done that.
Oh, to see if they need admin access?
That, and to see that they're actually in the working group.
And they would not get, they are in the working group and they would not get admin rights at the moment.
Exactly.
So maybe they still have it because of these non-standard teams, but that could get a problem. We will see.
Yeah.
We discussed about it. There might also be another possibility to bypass it by special configuration in the branch protection rules, maybe. So not just admin, but to exclude those users also need to look it up.
Definitely. It would be it would be kind of a bummer if we did that, or if we let the change happen without making the bot bypass rules happen.
A lot of the automation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also we would lose our admin access, right? So it'd be all on Johan, who is on vacation, to bypass the branch protection rules if there are any.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I have admin roles because I'm an org admin, so I can, if something is burning, I can help out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the only bot that's currently listed is the CF Git bot. So we definitely need to look and see and get our bot accounts listed. All right.
Okay, I write it down and then I can check it. Okay, update on the pipeline migration. Yeah, I don't know where we are. I haven't followed up. I think Sven knows most. And
yeah, so Carsten and I had a pairing session. Yeah, didn't get that far because we couldn't create the domain we needed for the bubble environment. But I think we have now like kind of a self-service, right, where we can just register one.
I know they were talking about that. Have they actually set up the DNS zone? Because I think Chris Clark put in a request to the Linux Foundation, who actually maintain cloudfoundry.org, to get ci.cloudfoundry.org that he could then control, so he could then grant subdomains of that to each of the working groups, so that each working group could then control its own DNS. And I don't know how far down that process we've gotten.
Chris Clark has ci.cloudfoundry.org set up. So theoretically, the hard part is done. Also, it sounded like Stevenson was pitching earlier in that thread, which is in TOC if anyone wants to check it out, that rather than filing lots of DNS tickets, working groups could actually self-service off of ci.cloudfoundry.org. So perhaps the work is done. Not sure.
Okay, I didn't know whether because I thought he was suggesting that that would happen by us having a subdomain of ci.cloudfoundry.org, that they would just delegate to our DNS and then we could just manage our own DNS at that point, but only within our own subdomain.
I guess
which is fine. I mean, we don't need anything more than that.
I think that makes more sense, but the way that it's written right now makes it sound like maybe we can already self-service off of ci.cloudfoundry.org. Possibly need a message to clear it up and see where we're at.
Okay. Pipeline access. When I look at this new concourse, then I just see 2 pipelines, and all the others are either not migrated or they don't have public access because I have no role in this working group, and that's maybe. So the question is there any reason why we would not make all pipelines public? That's maybe the easiest thing. They were public on the old Concourse, so there seems to be no hard reason, right? Like credentials in the logs, etc.
Yeah, Johan said the plan is to make them all public. I think the reason why they are not is because most of them are not running yet.
Ah, okay.
Probably. Like most of them are still paused on the CF deployment pipeline because we cannot use it yet.
Makes sense. I'm trying to access CI right now and it's not responding to me. Did the address change?
Oh, I had the same thing this morning. I just flushed my DNS cache and then it worked.
So I can see the new, I see the smoke tests. They are green.
Yeah, when I'm
and I see an paused CF deployment where everything is gray because it just doesn't run yet. And these are the 2 pipelines I can see.
Update releases Sorry, go for it.
No, I just wanted to say the rest is not public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cats is failing.
Is Cats failing just on the Kate side, or is it failing on
VM side as well?
VM? Okay.
And then there was this question on one Slack discussion whether we need to scale out, scale up the Concourse workers on the new Concourse. That's something because the unit tests were too slow or something was mentioned. Again, I have no access to the YAS account, so somebody would need to look inside and find out whether it needs to be changed, and if so, we just do it, right? Throw money on the problem.
Yeah, I posted that message. I don't have much experience at that level of Concourse, so I didn't run any tests to see if the CPU was being overloaded or anything like that. But the exact same tests with the exact same command slowed down by around 130% on the new Concourse. There is some alternatives to beefing up the Concourse workers, and that's that we could try and get them to run in parallel. They're currently run serially. So that's an alternative to throwing money at the problem. But yeah, it's significantly slower in a not great way.
I mean, when the big pipelines are running, this will, or we can also wait until we have the big pipelines running and see what comes out, and then we may, yeah, find a faster decision if it gets completely awkward. Okay. We'll just. Okay, yeah, so that was regarding the pipelines, what I had on my list. Then, yeah, you know it already on the Gemmy stem cell, the cloud controller should not be the blocker anymore. There's a release that contains Ruby 3.1. Of course, it was not tested yet on Gemmy, so that's maybe something, yeah, what could be done next?
Yeah, Carson and I have a session this afternoon to set up a test pipeline to validate Gemmy against, I guess it will be against developer CF deployment.
Makes sense.
Just to test every change as it comes in. We do have the latest cloud controller or CAPI released 1.134, which is Ruby 3.1, so should be fine, but we'll find out this afternoon when we get that up and running. We did have one weird issue with the two prior versions of CAPI, in that the part of the pipeline that tests BBR would not deploy unless we took out the enable backup restore ops file.
Okay. Will this pipeline be publicly available? So then,
yes, the safety
that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it hung on the pre-start of Cloud Controller because it had an issue running the database initialization routines.
I remember. Yeah, that was the one environment variable that was somehow strange.
Right.
Let's say it like
we have no idea why the backup restore ops file made this happen, because the only thing that does to the API instance group is set a backup restore property on the routing API job. So it's very strange that we were getting this issue, but as soon as the 1.134 landed, that passed fine.
Oops, that's strange. Yeah.
So there's something weird with those two releases. And the same thing happened with 1.132 and 1.133, which are the two releases on Ruby 3.0.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Everything's green again now, and everything's flowing. So I suspect that Carson and I will cut a release tomorrow. is our normal pattern. I mean, as soon as the pipeline's green, and at that point we'll look at cats and the Concourse task and see if they need releases cut as well. But wanted to make sure you were aware, because I know you had plans to try and upgrade to that version first. So if you're using backup and restore, you may run into problems there.
We don't use it.
Okay.
We use RDS instances and have then specialized RDS specific. So that's not. But yeah, it shows something is fishy there.
Yeah, something is not quite right. But I mean, it was a library loading issue. But the strange thing was that it just seemed to be the lack of a path in the LD library path environment variable. So I haven't looked at the CAPI release to see whether that actually just got fixed and they realized it was a problem, or why that was happening. But yeah, it was very interesting.
No idea, Philip. Do you know? Have you heard something of this problem? Backup and restore tests?
No, I haven't seen anything in the CAPI release.
Okay. Yeah, everyone I talked to couldn't explain why it was suddenly started happening, and I haven't asked, but I'm pretty sure they won't know why it stopped happening again either. But yeah, if we updated the LD library path, then the library loading would work. It just wasn't happening automatically as part of the pre-start script, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Yep. The final thing I had on my list was for the CF smoke test, there's now this automatic update of Golang versions. That's cool. Thanks for your help. And yeah, curious whether the new version is now in the next CF deployment release. And that's cool. Yeah, any topic from your side? Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll throw in that yesterday someone was asking that we bump the version of CF test helpers to V2, since we made a somewhat breaking change about upgrading to Ginkgo V2. So fair enough. I was taking a look at that library, and we do kind of weird things with it. Right now, we treat it like a submodule. We just pull it in, but it is a Go dependency in multiple places. So just pulling in thing is sort of a flaky job if we actually upgrade CF test helpers like a Go module and add the V2 stuff, or make breaking changes. It's just going to automatically get pulled in, get committed, and break, which doesn't give us a ton of opportunity to make changes in CF test helpers and actually usher them through the upgrade flow ourselves. So I made the PR to upgrade to V2. They've approved it, so I merged it, and I've been going and upgrading the repository or the code bases that use it, cats and smoke tests. And for both of them, I've also looked to try and remove the CI element that goes to automatically pull it in and update it, thinking that in the future, we can just manually cut a release for that library, and Dependabot or the smoke tests like upgrade pipeline will pull it in whenever there's a new version. And that might be a better flow for CF test helpers than letting it just break all the time.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That job is years old now and predates having Dependabot do nice PRs for bumping dependencies. So yeah, I like that.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Yep. So from our side, we would continue on this migration with the pipelines and see, as far as we get. I mean, the pipelines are moved over, but to get them running, if something is needed, if we can do something here, it's a bit difficult to for us to understand all the details and whom to ask if some problems like the subdomain problem comes up. There might be, yeah, but it's not the way how the Concourse is set up. Well, it works. It's a clone based on the way how Bosch set it up, the initial Concourse. There will now be a third one for the up runtime interfaces working group. I try to do Silvestre from the Autoscaler team drives the story. Why? Because he is very close at SAP with the Bosch team, and maybe his feedback on configuration changes has a higher chance to find its way to this repository, and then we can benefit again also for our Concourse. So at the moment, this configuration and coding is not yet that well separated. So let's see what comes out.
Yes.
But yeah, should not impact the running instance, I hope.
Mhm. Sounds good.
Yep, that was everything on my list. Something more, some questions, some things we can solve right away, otherwise.
No, I think we just need to, like Carsten said, we need to make sure we've got the bot accounts in the in the team. So we'll try and get it, we can look at that this afternoon as well. While we're waiting on CI to run, and yeah, then I think we should be in good shape.
Okay, good. Then thanks a lot, and see you in 2 weeks, I guess.
Sounds good.
When the next time
Yeah.
the calendar says it's time.
Yes.
Okay, have a nice day. See you.
You too. Bye, everyone.
See you. Bye.
Bye.